Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaur Kishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Charya Baladev Vijubhusan Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath. Sadhu Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandadi Gaura Parsada Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sigo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauru Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Antardvip Mayapur Simantadvip Kodramdvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Rudadvip Chanadvip Moda Drumadvip Rudadvip Atmaka Shri Shri Navadvip Dhama Ki Jai. Jai Shri Purushottam Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiyo Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiu Ki Jai. Shrimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashta Sakhi Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Ananga Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda Ki Jai. Shrimati Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Purnamasi Yoga Maya Devi Ki Jai. Shri Gopi Swar Mahadev Ki Jai. Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiyo Ki Jai. Jai Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Sri Nrsinga Dev Ki Jai. Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charodam Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya Ki Jai. Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. Or Ananya Shakamat Samuha Ki Jai. Shri Vishva Vaishnav Raj Sabha Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Tribhuvana Pavana Harinama Samkirtana Ki Jai. Shri Bhuvana Mangala Harinama Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Ki Jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Shri Nityananda Mahajana Ki Jai. Shri Pancha Tattva Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Prem Anande. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে ফুলকাশারীরা, হরি হরি বলিতে নায়ানে বাবেনি। গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে কাশারীরা, গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে ফুলকাশারীরা, হরি হরি বলিতে না জানে বাবেনেরা। আর কবে নিতাই চন্দের করুণা হইবে, সংসার বাসনা মোর হরিব কবে তুচ্ছ হবে। বিষয়াচর্যা কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মন, কবে হামহে রব শ্রী বৃন্দাবন। বিষয়াচর্যা কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মন, কবে হামহে রব শ্রী বৃন্দাবন। হইবে আকুতি, কবে হাম বুঝব সে যুগল প্রীতি। রঘুনাথ পদে রঘু মরয়াস, প্রার্থনা করো এ সদা নরোত্তম দাস। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। জয় নিতাই জয় গৌর, জয় নিতাই জয় গৌর। জয় নিতাই জয় গৌর, জয় নিতাই জয় গৌর। Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So I was just reading Srila Bhaktivigyan Bharati Maharaj. On his website, there's a series of different reports made in the final year and months of Srila Bharati Maharaj. His disappearance day is, today is, Sunday, Jiva Goswami, Monday, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then Tuesday. Tuesday is Haridas Thakur and Srila Bharati Maharaj. So I was reading quite a few of those reports this morning, and in one of those reports, Srila Bharati Maharaj was expressing that one time his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Daita Madhav Maharaj, and other senior disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they were in Calcutta with Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and there was supposed to be a very big meeting. And all of a sudden, it started a huge thunderstorm and rain. So the devotees, they're wondering what to do, what will happen, all of this. And they were saying, oh, this is not auspicious. This rain is not an auspicious sign, you know. Then Prabhupada corrected all of them. And he said, auspicious and inauspicious has nothing to do with the weather. What it has to do with is what are we doing in our life on a daily basis? Are we practicing this process of sadhana? And in this process, there is one topmost criterion to determine whether or not your day was auspicious or inauspicious. And what is that? That day, when you did not hear any Harikatha, is inauspicious. And that day when you heard Harikatha is very auspicious. Bas. So, you know, Srila Bharati Maharaj used to repeat this quite often, and so did Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. He used to say that quite often. That day when there is no Harikatha, that is very inauspicious. It is a very bad day. But when you have heard Harikatha, then that day is very auspicious and very good day. Keep that in your memory banks, okay? Because that's the highest criterion. Are we following the process? Are we coming and listening to Harikatha with rapt attention? Are we trying our level best? And then that's what determines whether or not we're utilizing our human form of life for its highest purpose. So, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati continued with the program and had Harikatha. So now, as I told the other day, I want to continue reading from this book titled Sri Radha, Our Supreme Treasure. And in this book there are some very, very wonderful wonderful articles written, and some of them spoken by our acharyas. So there are so many wonderful, wonderful articles, and it would take a number of days. But anyway, I want to read what we can today. But to begin with, I want to read, there's two articles by our Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And one is titled The Supreme Perfection. And then the other is titled Who is Srimati Radharani? So I'm going to go to these two articles beginning on page 149. Okay, 149. Okay, so this first article, titled The Supreme Perfection, by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vansha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Trise Nama Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalau Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Nama Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Nama Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Follow. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this first is actually this article by Srila Prabhupada is an excerpt from his teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 31. So it's a few pages, not too long. Okay, and it's titled The Supreme Perfection. He begins by saying that the different kinds of devotees of the Supreme Lord, they have different aptitudes and different relationships with Him. Any relationship with the Lord is as good as any other. Any relationship with the Lord is as good as any other because the central point is Krishna. So in this connection, there is a nice verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that states that Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasures, and He is, speak a little bit lower, his Russian translation is a little bit too loud, he's a little bit lower, okay? In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu there is a nice verse that Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasures, And he is always attracting the gopis by the spiritual luster of his body. He especially attracts Taraka, Pali, Shyama, and Lalita. Krishna is very dear to Radharani, the foremost gopi. So like Krishna, the gopis are glorified by Krishna's pastimes. There are different kinds of relationships with Krishna, and anyone who is attracted to Krishna in a particular mellow is glorified. So I'm recognizing that this, what Prabhupada just told here, is actually the first shloka of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Akhil Rasamrita Murti. And there it's talking about how Krishna, who is the very form of rasa, Akhil Rasamrita, the nectar of rasa, Krishna's body. So by his being so, he's always attracting the gopis by the spiritual luster of his body. And who is mentioned here? There's 4 different gopis mentioned. And why Rupa Goswami has composed this verse like that? To show that these different 4 categories of gopis are all attracted by Krishna. So Krishna is very dear to Radharani, who is the foremost gopi. Now, like Krishna, the gopis are glorified by Krishna's pastimes. Gopis are glorified by Krishna's pastimes, just like Krishna is glorified by his own pastimes. And there are different kinds of relationships with Krishna, and anyone who is attracted to Krishna in a particular rasa, in a particular mellow, that person is glorified. So Krishna is so beautiful and transcendental and attractive that he sometimes attracts even himself. Now the following verse appears in the Gita Govinda 1:11. Vishvesham anuranjanena janayan anandamindivara Shreni Shyamala Malaya Upanayan Angair Anangotsavam Svachandam Vrajasundari Virabita Pratyangam Alingita Shringara Sakimurtiman Iva Madho Mugdo Hari Kridati. My dear friend, just see how Krishna is enjoying his transcendental pastimes in the spring by expanding the beauty of his personal body. His soft legs and hands, just like the most beautiful moon, are used on the bodies of the gopis. And when he embraces different parts of their bodies, he is so beautiful. Krishna is so beautiful that he attracts even Narayan. And also he attracts the goddess of fortune who associates with Narayan. So now in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the next quotation is from the 10th canto, 89th chapter, verse 58. And who is speaking? The Bhuma Purusha, namely Mahavishnu. He told to Krishna and Arjuna the following. He said to Krishna, because Krishna and Arjuna came there to him. They journeyed all the way to see Mahavishnu. So my dear Krishna and Arjuna, Mahavishnu said, I have taken the Brahmin sons just to see you. Because there was a Brahmin who complained to Krishna, to Arjuna, I forget, to one of them, to Arjuna, that what is this? You're supposed to be such a powerful Kshatriya, and my sons have been stolen from me? Huh? So then, Mahavishnu said to our Krishna and Arjuna, I arranged actually that these sons should be taken. And why? What was my intention? Because I just wanted to see you. So then Arjuna, here's the story, that Arjuna had attempted to save some youths who had died untimely at Dwarka. And when he failed to save them, then Krishna took him to the Bhuma Purusha. So when the Bhuma Purusha brought forth those dead youths as living entities, he said, both of you appeared in order to preserve religious principles in the world, and also to annihilate the demons. So, in other words, the Bhuma Purusha, also being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, he concocted this pastime, just as a pretext to see him. So it is recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-36 that after the serpent Kaliya was punished by Krishna, then one of Kaliya's wives told Krishna, Dear Lord, we cannot understand how this fallen serpent got the opportunity of being kicked by your lotus feet when even the goddess of fortune underwent austerities for many years just to see you. Who's telling this? The wives of Kaliya, the Nagapatnis. They told this to Krishna, that we're just watching how you have just been dancing on the heads of our husbands, Kaliya, and you've been kicking his heads with your lotus feet. But we cannot understand how it is that this fallen serpent got the opportunity of being kicked by your lotus feet when even the goddess of fortune herself had to undergo austerities for many years just to see you. So, now another verse is being cited. How Krishna is attracted by his own beauty. You know, this is Prabhupada's commentary, and I think it's the Roy Ramananda Samvad in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. It's an extract from there. So, another quotation from Lalita Madhava. How Krishna is attracted by his own beauty. It is described in this quotation, Lalita Madhava. So upon seeing his own picture, Krishna lamented. Krishna's looking at his own picture. And he's lamenting. How glorious this picture is! It is attracting me just as it attracts Radharani. So then, after giving a summary description of Krishna's beauty, then Ramananda Roy began to speak of Krishna's spiritual energies, which are headed by Srimati Radharani. Krishna's Shaktis, his energies, are headed by Srimati Radharani. So Krishna has immense energetic expansions, of which three are predominant. The internal energy, the external energy, and the marginal energy, comprising the living entities. That's us, the jivas. So this threefold division of energies, it is confirmed in the Vishnu Purana, where it is said that Vishnu has one spiritual energy which is manifested in three ways. And when the spiritual energy is overwhelmed by ignorance, then it is called the marginal energy. When the spiritual energy is overwhelmed by ignorance, avidya, then it is called the marginal energy, tatastha shakti. So as far as the spiritual energy itself is concerned, it is exhibited in three forms. Because Krishna is a combination of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. That's what Krishna is. Eternity, Sat, Chit, knowledge, and Ananda, bliss. So, as far as bliss and peacefulness are concerned, his spiritual energy is manifested as the pleasure-giving potency. Pleasure-giving potency. What's the name of that in Sanskrit? Do you know? It is Nayash. Imya. Imya. Pleasure-giving potency. Keep going, try again. There are three energies in the spiritual world. Три энергии на духовный мир. Okay, spiritual world, there are three energies. Three spiritual energies. They are connected with Krishna's Sat Chit Ananda, of him. They're connected. But these are energies of his. They are Shakti potencies. What are the names of those three energies? Da, Hladini, и другой? Okay, here's the three energies. Sandini, Sandini, Samvit, Samvit, и Hladini, Hladini. Sandini, Samvit, Hladini. Da, okay. So, this Hladini potency is his what? It is his pleasure-giving potency. Animayash. That's where all pleasure, all bliss comes from this Hladini. Then his eternity, it is a manifesting energy. It manifests everything that exists. Sandini. And his knowledge, his Chit potency, Sat Chit Ananda, is called his Samvit potency. And it is manifested as spiritual perfection. Spiritual perfection is manifested as Samvit. That's why Samvit mixed with Hladini on the platform of Sandini produces what? Rasa. But that's a different topic. So as confirmed in the Vishnu Purana, the pleasure potency of Krishna gives Krishna transcendental pleasure and bliss. Where does Krishna get his happiness from? From his Hladini potency. So therefore, when Krishna wants to enjoy pleasure, he exhibits his own spiritual potency known as what? He exhibits his own spiritual potency known as что? His spiritual potency. If Krishna wants to enjoy pleasure, he exhibits his own spiritual potency, known by the name of what? Krishna wants to enjoy pleasure. Krishna wants to enjoy pleasure and bliss. So, when he wants to enjoy pleasure and bliss, then he manifests his own potency, his own Shakti, known as what? Da. Now, in his spiritual form, in his own spiritual form, Krishna enjoys his spiritual energy. And that is the sum and the substance of the Radha Krishna pastimes. Are you translating along? You know where I am? That is the sum and substance of the Radha and Krishna pastimes. Read it. Yeah, but you can't read it before I say it. You have to wait until I first of all read it, then you read it after. Okay? So in his spiritual form, Krishna enjoys his spiritual energy. And that is the sum and the substance of the Radha Krishna pastimes. These pastimes can be understood only by elevated devotees. No one else can understand. Only elevated devotees can understand these Radha Krishna pastimes. Now, one should not try to understand the Radha Krishna potencies and pastimes from the mundane platform. Impossible. Невозможно. Generally, people, they misunderstand these pastimes of Radha and Krishna as being material. Just like ordinary materialistic so-called lust affairs of this material world. People misunderstand Radha and Krishna's pastimes to be like material. Now it's getting into what is Radha's tattva. Now when the pleasure potency is further condensed, the pleasure potency, then it is called Mahabhav. What is it called? What is it? Yes, it is the condensed potency. This pleasure potency, Hladini Shakti, when it is condensed, then it is called Mahabhav. So in this regards, in the Ujjvala Nilamani, Rupa Goswami states that there are two competitors in loving Krishna. Who are they? Radharani and Chandravali. And when they are compared, then it appears that Radharani is superior. Why? When you compare Chandravali and Radharani, it becomes clear that Radharani is far superior. Why? Because she is Mahabhav Swarupa. The term Mahabhav Swarupa, meaning the personification of Mahabhav, is applicable to Radharani only. She is the only person who is the Swarup of Mahabhav, and no one else. Mahabhav is full of the pleasure potency, Hladini, and it is an exhibition of the highest love for Krishna. Radharani is therefore known throughout the world as the most beloved of Krishna, and her name is always associated with Krishna as Radha Krishna. So, this is so far. This is Prabhupada's teachings of Lord Chaitanya. None of the devotees in the Western world had ever heard any of this. Maybe it's mentioned somewhat in Nectar of Devotion, or also in the Krishna book. But actually, those books came out after. Teaching of Lord Chaitanya came first. Then came Nectar of Devotion. Then came the Krishna book. So I remember in 1970 reading, after I finished vacuuming the temple room carpet, then I sat in a little closet and I opened up the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya book. And I was reading somewhere in this, this section of Roy Ramananda Samvad. And I was completely amazed. I was bedazzled, But now, so many years later, after we've heard these topics numerous times, we've also read the original texts in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in 10th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam. We've also heard the commentaries and the explanations of all of this from our acharyas. Numerous of our acharyas, from Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, down all the way to our acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. But yet, the simple way that Srila Prabhupada is presenting this, it is very interesting how Prabhupada is presenting this in a very simple way. But still, most people will not fully understand it, but it sounds good. Ladini, pleasure potency, Mahabhav, full of pleasure potency, like this. Now the Brahma Samhita 537, it also confirms that Krishna expands himself by his pleasure potency in the spiritual world. And that these potencies are all non-different from him, the absolute truth. And although Krishna is always enjoying the company of his pleasure potency expansions, however, he is all-pervading. He is all-pervading. Therefore, Brahmaji offers his respectful obeisances to Govinda, who is the cause of all causes. So, just as Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so, in the same way, Radharani is the highest emblem of the spiritual pleasure potency meant for satisfying Krishna. Yes, because Krishna's potencies are meant for satisfying him. That's what his potencies are meant for. That's what they do. There's no such thing as what you see in the Bible, where these spiritual beings called angels, they turn bad. They turn bad. And now they become evil. And now they want to overthrow God. And they have a big battle with God. And the good angels defeat the bad angels, and they're all sent where? To hell. But that devil, the fallen angel, now he's looking for victims all the time to take him and drag them down to hell. This is all fairy tale stories. Fairy tale stories. There is no such possibility that the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can be challenged by any of his powerful spiritual potencies. Why? Because they're subordinate to him. They never, ever act in any way contrary. They act only for Krishna's satisfaction. All of his Shaktis, all of his potencies, they serve him. And they never become envious of him. And this idea that the jivas were there in the spiritual world with Krishna, that means us, tiny little living entities, and we became envious of Krishna in the spiritual world. And then we were cast down from the spiritual world into the material world with a thunderbolt. So bogus, completely bogus. There is no possibility that any living beings in the spiritual world can fall from there down to the material world. Never, ever in all of eternity. No. There is no envy there. There is only pure prem, Krishna prem, and it doesn't become old. Remember Kundali and his little books? And he was with Satyanarayan at that time when they wrote the first book. Oh, in Vaikuntha, not even the leaves fall. And then he put together a cartoon showing Krishna and Balaram in Goloka Vrindavan, and they're talking to each other. And in the meantime, you see many, many jivas jumping off Goloka Vrindavan planet, right? And then Krishna and Balaram, they're saying to each other, this is becoming a big problem, that maybe our pastimes are not interesting enough. We should make our pastimes more exciting, because these jivas, they're leaving the spiritual world. So this is absurd, absolutely absurd. But yet there's a society in this world, an institution, that is declaring that this is the absolute truth, that all the jivas in the material world fell from Goloka Vrindavan, or they fell from Vaikuntha because they became envious. Absolute nonsense. Nonsense. Absolute. None of our acharyas, none of them, not one single acharya, in hundreds of years after Mahaprabhu, or before Mahaprabhu, in thousands of years, not one single one has ever told that the jivas in this world fall from there. So, just to make that clear. So, because Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, he's the highest emblem, spiritual perfection. Similarly, Radharani is the highest emblem of the spiritual pleasure potency meant for satisfying Krishna. That's her purpose. So, Krishna is unlimited, and Radharani is also unlimited in her ability to satisfy him. By the way, I saw a video this morning on Facebook, Loy Bazaar, completely flooded up to the chest. I mean, it doesn't show other parts of Vrindavan, because Loy Bazaar kind of goes downhill a little bit, but they've had a lot of rain there in Vrindavan. Everybody, motorcycles are wading through the water in Loy Bazaar. So, Krishna is unlimited. Is Krishna limited in any way? Da ili niet. Is Krishna limited in any way? He is? Okay. Yeah. Yes, Krishna has one limitation that he admits very openly. He says, you gopis, you've defeated me. You have completely defeated me. By your love, I have made a promise forever that any devotee who surrenders to me, I equally reciprocate with them. But you gopis, I have to admit, I can't. I can't. You've defeated me. Even if I had the whole lifetime of Brahma to try to repay you gopis, I would not be able to. No. So in that way, Krishna is limited. But that's by rasa vichar. By tattva vichar, Krishna is unlimited. Is Krishna in this wall? Is Krishna here in this wall? What? Do you think he's not here? Is Krishna in the rain falling from the sky? Where does that water come from? Krishna's body. Where does the earth, our body, where does it come from? It comes from Krishna. Is Krishna everywhere? Yes. Because every atomic particle, Krishna is there. Is Krishna in the heart of every jivatma? Yes. Krishna is everywhere. He's all-pervading. Krishna is unlimited. Both in the material world and in the spiritual world. Krishna is Ananta. Ananta means no anta, no end, no limit. Krishna is Ananta. We cannot conceive of that with our brain. No. When Arjuna saw Krishna's exhibiting of his universal form, you know that in the Bhagavad Gita? Krishna showed his universal Virat Rupa to Arjuna. And what happened to Arjuna? Do you know? What happened to Arjuna? Yeah, he became frightened. Why? He's Krishna's friend. But why is he frightened? Explain. What happened to him?
When he stole he moved the fire and his father, the slacker after the fear. So that fear to pray for him. Oh, you were so great. I was with you like friends, but please forgive me my offenses.
Yes. He became frightened. I mean, look, even when we hear a huge, gigantic thunderclap, like really loud, super loud, we go, and that's only one little speck of Krishna's potency. So, Krishna is unlimited, and who else is unlimited? Radharani. She's also unlimited in what way? She wants to satisfy Krishna. Her ability to satisfy Krishna is unlimited. Krishna is satisfied. You know how Krishna becomes satisfied? Just by seeing Radharani. Just by seeing her, he becomes so satisfied. But Radharani expands herself in such a way that Krishna desires to enjoy her more. So because Krishna was unable to estimate this pleasure potency of Radharani, he decided to accept the role of Radharani. And that combination of Krishna and Radharani is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Krishna wanted to estimate, he wanted to understand the pleasure potency of Radharani. So now Ramananda Roy, he then began to explain how Radharani is the supreme emblem of Krishna's pleasure potency. Radharani expands herself in different forms. Who are they? These forms that she expands herself into are known as Lalita, Vishaka, and her other confidential associates. So in his Ujjvala Nilamani, Rupa Goswami explains that one of the characteristics of Srimati Radharani is that her body is an evolution of transcendental pleasure. That's what her body is. It's an evolution of transcendental pleasure. Hladini Shakti. That body is decorated. Which body? The body of Radharani. That body is decorated with flowers, fragrant aromas, and it is complete with transcendental love for Krishna. Indeed, that body is the personification of his pleasure potency. That means she is personified, the Hladini potency of Krishna. Now, what about the bathing of Radharani's transcendental body? This is discussed in the Ramananda Roy Samvad, a little bit more elaborately than here. Prabhupada's mentioning that she takes 3 baths. Listen carefully. This is Ramananda Roy telling this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radharani bathes her transcendental body 3 times. First, she bathes her body in the water of mercy. Mercy. Secondly, she bathes in the water of youthful beauty. And third, she bathes in the water of youthful luster. What's your word for luster in Russian language? Luster. Luster.
Yes. Yes.
I want to know the Russian word.
Yes.
It's блеск. Блеск.
Valetsk. Valetsk. Valetsk means luster. Okay. Radharani has very much Valetsk. Okay? Because she bathes in the water of Valetsk. Yuzhnaya. Youthful. Youthful Valetsk. Yunusha? Youthful. Full of youth. Now, after she bathes 3 times in that way, that her body is covered with shining garments and decorated with her personal beauty, which is compared to cosmetics. Do you know what cosmetics are? What? Yes, for the whole face. Cosmetics. Yes. But it's not cosmetics. These garments are decorating her personal beauty, and they are compared to cosmetics. Thus, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry. No artist can ever create anything to compare with the beauty of Srimati Radharani. What else is there decorating her spiritual body? Her body is also decorated with the ornaments of spiritual ecstasy. Which ornaments of spiritual ecstasy? Trembling, shedding of tears, perspiring, choking of the voice, cessation of all bodily functions due to transcendental pleasure, and the standing up of hairs on the body, and the changing of bodily color, and also one last one, madness, complete madness. These are the ornaments of spiritual ecstasy that are decorating Srimati Radhika's body. Now, the decorative transcendental pleasure potency manifests 9 symptoms. 5 of these symptoms are manifested by the expansion of Radharani's personal beauty, which is adorned with garlands and flowers. And her patient calmness is compared to the covering of cloths which have been cleansed by camphor. Her confidential agony for Krishna is the knot in her hair. And the mark of tilak on her forehead is her good fortune. Radharani's sense of hearing is eternally fixed on Krishna's name and fame. So when someone chewing betel nuts, what happens to your lips? You don't know, because you've never chewed betel nuts before. But we've seen everywhere in India that people chew, and what comes from their mouth? Red color. What do they do with that? They go, and they spit it here and there everywhere on the streets. Disgusting habit. Disgusting. But anyway, betel nuts are a little bit intoxicating, slightly. That's why we don't take. But by chewing them, your lips become red. Similarly, Radharani's complete attachment to Krishna, what is that represented by in her, on her face? Radharani's face has particular symptom, which is showing, which is like the emblem of her complete attachment to Krishna. And that attachment to Krishna has done what to the borders of her eyes? It has made them blackish. She doesn't need to put on some mascara and all of that, because her attachment to Krishna makes automatically her eyelashes and the borders of her eyes, eyeliner they call it, to be blackish. Okay? Understand? She doesn't have like a material body like in this world, where a woman, she goes to bed at night, wakes up in the morning, and doesn't have anything decorating her face, and she looks ugly. So then she takes her bath, and then she starts painting. Okay? So Radharani's body is not like that. So that darkness that is blackening the borders of her eyes, it might be compared to the ointment that is produced by Radha's joking with Krishna. Okay? The joking produces like an ointment. You don't know about the spiritual world, do you? All you know is this nonsense material world. That's why you keep on trying to find happiness in the material world. Because it's a nonsense place that has nonsense happiness, which doesn't last at all. Okay? It ends in suffering. Now, what about her smile? What about Radharani's smile? What is it compared to? It's compared to the taste of camphor. Very beautiful taste of camphor. Do you know that when we make sweet rice, the original recipe from Prabhupada, in the first Sunday feast, they had sweet rice with camphor in it. Black pepper, sugar, what else? I forget. Oh. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes bay leaves. But especially camphor. That was very noticeable. Yeah. Prabhupada taught that. And what else? And so, her smile, it is compared to the taste of camphor. And then, the garland that she's wearing on her body, the garland of separation it is. It's her separation mood. That garland is representing her separation mood to Krishna. And then that garland moves on her body as she's walking, as she's dancing, and like this. And when Radharani lies down on the bed, but what is that bed? All of these comparisons are reality. They're not just some poetical imagination. She lies down on the bed of pride. Pride. And that bed of pride is in the room. What is the room that you'll find the bed of pride where she lies down? What is the room? It's the room of fragrance, aroma. Her breasts are covered by a blouse, kanchuli. Her breasts are covered by the blouse of what? Anger. Her anger, which is born, what is her anger born of? Her anger is born of ecstatic affection for Krishna. Yes. So that's what her blouse covering her breasts is. Her reputation as the best of all of Krishna's girlfriends is what? The stringed instrument that she plays. That's her reputation, is represented by the veena that Radharani plays. She plays. When Krishna stands in his youthful posture, she puts her hand on his shoulder. Did you know that? Yeah. Radharani puts her hand on Krishna's shoulder. And although she possesses so many transcendental qualities, but she is still always engaged in the service of Krishna. Now, what about her emotions? The emotions of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is decorated with sudipta sattvic emotions. Sudipta sattvic emotions, which sometimes they include jubilation, and sometimes pacification. All the transcendental ecstasy, all of the transcendental ecstasies are manifested in the body of Srimati Radharani. Sudipta sattvic emotions are manifested when a lover is overwhelmed with certain feelings that he or she cannot control, cannot check. That's called Sudipta sattvic emotions. That they both become overwhelmed by these feelings. They cannot stop them, they cannot check them. Now, Radharani has another emotion. And this is a very well-known emotion. It's called Kila Kinchita. But this Kila Kinchita is described in great detail in Ujjvala Nilamani, in Ramananda Roy, Conversation with Mahaprabhu, and in other places. This emotion of Radharani, called Kila Kinchita, it manifests in 20 different ways. 20. These emotions are manifested partly due to one's body, then partly due to one's mind, and partly due to habit. As far as the bodily emotions are concerned, they are manifested in the posture, how she is standing, and also in her movement, how she is moving. And then as far as the emotions of the mind are concerned, they are manifested as beauty, luster, complexion, sweetness, talking, magnanimity, and patience. And as far as the habitual emotions are concerned by habit, they are manifested as pastimes, lila. They are manifested as enjoyment. They are manifested as preparing for separation and forgetfulness. So this is all part of Kila Kinchita emotions, bhavs, manifesting in 20 different ways. If you want to know exactly, then you have to read Ujjvala Nilamani. Now, does Radharani have tilak on her forehead? Does Radharani wear tilak on her forehead? Yes? Are you wearing tilak on your forehead? Why? Why are we putting on tilak?
Can I say? I don't know about exactly everybody who's here, but I read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Mahaprabhu, he said, who didn't this?
Who said who?
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
To who?
I don't remember exactly all details, but he said if somebody don't put this tilaka on the body, his body is like crematories.
Okay.
So it is his instruction to everybody.
But still, you didn't answer the question. Why are we only putting it on so that our body is not a crematorium? No, there's other reasons why we put on tilak. What she told?
She said it is signs of God.
Huh?
It is signs of God.
Kind of what?
Signs.
Sign.
Yes,
A
signs.
sign of what?
God.
Of what?
God. Signs of God.
God.
Yes, and
Okay.
it is give him pleasure. She said.
Okay. Yeah.
When we put this tilaka, it is give pleasure. It is her. She said it is feet of God. Feet of God.
Okay. Anything more? Why we put on tilak? How many places do we put tilak marks on our bodies? Only on our forehead?
Well,
Only on our forehead do we put? How many places do we put?
12.
12. 12, yes? 12. Why?
Each place it is name of God. Narayana, Madhava, Govinda.
But why are there 12 markings and there's not 50 markings?
It's also was the wire, the 30,
Huh?
1 3.
Huh?
It's also here, so it's 1 3, not 1 3. Not dozen, but 30. Because
No, there's 12 marks on the body. And there's 12 names of Vishnu. If you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing Sanatana Goswami, then he explains elaborately how in Vaikuntha the expansions of what is it called? Mahasankarshan, Mul Sankarshan, Mahasankarshan. They expand onto all the different planets in Vaikuntha. And then he explains even 24 different names and forms of Vishnu. How do you know? Because Vishnu holds 4 articles in his hands, and he has 4 arms. When those 4 articles are arranged differently, then it's a different form with a different name of Vishnu. For example, he has his chakra. So if his chakra is in his left hand, his club is in his right hand, upper hand. His lotus flower is in the lower hand, and on the other side, on the left side, then the conch shell is there. So you know which form of Vishnu it is by which particular hand is holding which article. And Mahaprabhu explains that there are 24 different forms. Yeah. It's a very important number, 24. Because there's 24 hours in the day. Okay? Numbers are important in God's creation. They're very important. So these names of Vishnu are painted onto our body with tilak. Why? To, what's the word? Like a sacrament. You are dedicating this body to Krishna. You are Krishna's servant. Therefore, you always wear tilak to indicate, I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. This body, 12 different parts of the body, I am marking this to dedicate this body as his temple. Why? Because he's living inside of this body with me. In the form of what? Paramatma, Super Soul. There are many different explanations and meanings for tilak. This is the most basic, okay? Then there are other explanations also concerning Braj Leela pastimes of Radha and Krishna and so forth. But we should understand that, and there are statements in Shastra, that if you're not wearing tilak, then your activities of trying to do your sadhan bhajan are not accepted. Of course, this is what is the word? It's a kind of an absolute statement, but it's not applying in every time, place, and circumstance, no. But a devotee who is in a situation where they cannot actually physically put on tilak, what do? Our Sankirtan devotees know this very, very well. Huh? They put on water. With water, they put on their tilak. And with the name of Vishnu, Om Keshavaya Namaha, Narayanaya Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha, Vishnave Namaha, Madhusudanaya Namaha, Trivikramaya Namaha, Vamanaya Namaha, Sridharaya Namaha, Hrishikeshaya Namaha, Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha, and Vasudevaya. So, this is required for every devotee, to wear tilak. People in the Western countries, sometimes they can't wear it because of their work or their job or whatever the case may be. Okay? But still, before they go, they should do achman, and they should touch those parts of the body with water, and they should say the names. You understand? This is needed. This is a very, very basic beginning level practice of sadhana. And it's there within the 64 limbs of bhakti, okay? It's under the category of archana, of worship of the Lord, okay? So it's not unimportant. That's why, in the early days, Srila Prabhupada, at one point, in the very early period, I think around the San Francisco, when that just started, around 67, maybe even before that in New York, but Prabhupada was telling his disciples, because, and you can see videos and photos of some of them, they had big bushy beards and long hair, and but Prabhupada didn't tell them to change their appearance immediately. No. That came over time. But some of them, they became ready. Okay, yes, we're going to shave our heads. You see? And that became like an emblem. And then after one did it, then another did it, then another did it, like this. You see? So, leaving a sika is necessary. Sometimes a person becomes bald as they get older, and there's no hair to make a sika with. A couple of our god brothers are in that category, But we should always have a sika. Ladies, of course, they have hair, and they braid their hair, like Srimati Radhika does. Okay, let's get back to the topic. The tilak on the forehead of Srimati Radharani. What is the tilak actually? The tilak is her good fortune. Supreme good fortune. That's the tilak on Radharani. On her forehead. She has forehead tilak. Krishna has forehead tilak. You better have it also if you want to go to them. You think you're going to slip in underneath the rug, without wearing tilak? No. Of course, what I'm saying is in the relative sense, because actually the only criterion is not your physical. But when you're practicing as a sadhak, you must always present your body physically as a devotee. Wear tilak and all of that. But as you get old and you near to the end, you may be in any kind of circumstance. Okay? Who knows? Only Krishna knows. So at that time you may not be able to. Even one devotee is saying, "Oh my Lord, when I become old, then all of my like the mucus in my body and the different, what are they called in the Ayurvedic? Kapha, Pitta, Vata. The three different constituents of the body. They'll all become very deranged in my old age. And it may be that I won't be able to chant your holy name, O my Lord." This is a prayer written by King Kulashekar, one of the South Indian great kings and Vaishnavas. And he said, "Krishna tvadiya padapankaja banjarantam adyaiva vishatu me manasaraja hangsam." So he's praying, "Oh Krishna, now that I'm still young, and I can chant your holy name and I can remember you, so I don't know if that will be my situation at the time of death. But now, please let the swan of my mind wind itself around the stem of your lotus feet." Because swans like to wind their necks around lotus stems. So let the swan of my mind wind it around the stem of your lotus feet. And let me chant your holy name. And, oh yeah, he's praying, "My dear Lord, let me die now." Let me die now, immediately. Because now I'm able to remember you. I don't know if that will be the case at the time of death. So let me die now. That's his prayer. Now, not only does Srimati Radharani have the tilak of good fortune on her forehead, but she also has a locket. You know what a locket is? It's like a necklace that has a kind of case there. And what is that locket? Prem Vaichitya. It's a special production of her prem. Here Prabhupada is explaining that Prem Vaichitya is manifest when a lover and a beloved meet and when they fear separation. They're meeting, but they're both fearing separation, that they have to separate. That's called Prem Vaichitya. Now, how old is Srimati Radharani? Huh? How old is she? Well, you should know that she's 15 days younger than Krishna. Yes, 15 days younger than Krishna. She always keeps her hand on the shoulder of one of her friends, one of her sakhis. Always keeps her hand on one of the shoulders of one of her friends. And what does she always talk about? What does she always think about with her friends? Her pastimes with Krishna. Continually, she's talking about her pastimes with Krishna. And she thinks about it always. She, Radharani, always offers Krishna a kind of an intoxicant. She makes Krishna intoxicated. You know, with what? Her sweet talks. And she is always prepared to fulfill all of his desires. So, in other words, she supplies everything needed to meet all the demands of Sri Krishna. And also she possesses unique and uncommon qualities for Krishna's satisfaction. In the Govinda Lilamrita, there is a nice verse, and it is stating, Who is the breeding ground of affection for Krishna? Breeding ground of affection for Krishna, and the answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika. Next question. Who is Krishna's dear most lovable object? The answer is, it is only Srimati Radhika and no one else. The shine, the sheen in her hair, the moisture in her eyes, the firmness in her breasts, all these qualities are present in Srimati Radhika. And therefore only Srimati Radhika is able to fulfill all the desires of Krishna. No one else can do so. Now, do you know that Satyabhama is a competitor of Srimati Radharani's? But she always desires to come to the standard of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani is so expert in all affairs that all the damsels of Braja, they come to her to learn the arts from her. She is so extraordinarily beautiful that even the goddess of fortune and even Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, they desire elevation to her standard of beauty. Arundhati, who is known as the most chaste lady in the universe, she desires to learn the standard of chastity from Srimati Radharani. Since even Lord Krishna cannot estimate Radharani's highly transcendental qualities, then it is not possible for an ordinary man to estimate them. So then Ramananda Roy, he began to his explanation saying that the transcendental activities of Radha and Krishna are very confidential. These activities cannot be understood by one who has an emotional relationship with the Supreme Lord as a servant to a master, or as a friend to a friend, or a parent to a son. This confidential subject matter of what? Of the transcendental activities of Radha and Krishna. It can be understood only in the association of the damsels of Braja. And for these confidential activities have arisen from the feelings and from the emotions of those damsels. So without the association of the damsels of Vraja, one cannot nourish or cannot cherish such a transcendental understanding. In other words, because these confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna have expanded through the mercy of the damsels of Braja, without their mercy, one cannot understand them. So one has to follow in the footsteps of the damsels of Braja in order to understand. And when one is actually situated in that understanding, he becomes eligible to enter into the confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna. For one who wants to understand these confidential pastimes, there is no alternative to following in the footsteps of the damsels of Braja. No alternative. And this is confirmed in the Govinda Lilamrita 10:17, that although manifest, happy, expanded, and unlimited, the emotional exchanges between Radha and Krishna can be understood only by the damsels of Vraja or their followers. Just as no one can understand the expansion of the spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord without His causeless mercy, similarly no one can understand the transcendental sex life between Radha and Krishna without following in the footsteps of the damsels of Vraja. So this is the last page and a half. Just finishing this. Now the associates of Radharani include her personal associates, who are called Sakis, and also her near assistants, who are called Manjaris. It is very difficult to express the dealings of Radharani's associates with Krishna, because they have no desire to mix with him or to enjoy with him personally. Yes. What are those associates called? They're called Manjaris. And it is very difficult to express the dealings of Radharani's Manjari associates with Krishna, because they have no desire to mix with him or to enjoy him personally, to enjoy with Krishna personally. They have no desire for that. Rather, they are always ready to help Radharani to associate with Krishna. So their affection for Krishna and Radharani is so pure that they are simply satisfied when Radha and Krishna are together. Indeed, their transcendental pleasure is in seeing Radha and Krishna united. The actual form of Radharani is just like a creeper embracing the tree of Krishna, and the damsels of Braja, the associates of Radharani, are just like the leaves and the flowers of that creeper. So when a creeper embraces a tree, then the leaves and the flowers of the creeper, they automatically embrace it. The Govinda Lilamrita describes the pleasure of Radharani's associates as follows. Quote, Radharani, the expansion of the pleasure potency of Krishna, is compared to a creeper, and her associates, the damsels of Braja, are compared to the flowers and the leaves of that creeper. So when Radharani and Krishna enjoy themselves, the damsels of Braja relish the pleasure more than Radharani herself. What was just stated here? What was just stated here? Did you catch it or not?
Yes. But I don't understand. How it's possible?
Oh, what's possible? What don't you understand?
How Manjari feel more than Radharani herself?
Not only the Manjaris, all of her associates, her Sakis, they also feel more transcendental pleasure in uniting Radha and Krishna than they do in trying to relish the pleasure directly with Krishna. Now, and guess what? The level of pleasure, of happiness that those Sakis and Manjaris experience is actually more than Radharani herself is experiencing. Can you imagine that? This is the incredible, inconceivable fact about the transcendental relationships in the spiritual world. that they're actually relishing Radha and Krishna enjoying themselves. Radha and Krishna are enjoying, but they're relishing that enjoying. And they're relishing it more than Radharani herself. This is incredible. Now, although the associates of Radharani, and note this very carefully, all the associates of Radharani, they do not expect any personal attention from Krishna. They don't expect that. Radharani is so pleased with them that she arranges individual meetings between Krishna and the damsels of Braja. And indeed, Radharani tries to unite her associates with Krishna by many transcendental maneuvers. And she takes more pleasure in these meetings than in her own meetings with him. So when Krishna sees that both Radharani and her associates are pleased by his association, when Krishna sees that, how much pleased Radha and her associates are by his association, then he becomes even more satisfied. So such loving reciprocation has nothing to do with material lust. And although it resembles the material union between man and woman, it looks like that. So because of that similarity, such reciprocation is sometimes called, in transcendental language, it's called transcendental lust, as confirmed in the Gautamiya Tantra. Lust means attachment to one's personal sense gratification. That's the meaning of lust. Personal sense gratification. But as far as Radharani and her associates are concerned, they have no desire for personal sense gratification. They only want to satisfy Krishna. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-19 in a verse spoken by the gopis amongst themselves. What did they say? They said, Yatte sujata charanam buruham staneshu bita shanai priyadadima hi karkasheshu te natavim atasitad vyatate na kimsvit kurpadi bir brahmati dir bavad ayushamna. So this is stated by the gopis. This is the last verse quoted in this section. The gopis are seeing, they're standing together, the gopis, and they're seeing Krishna. How Krishna is roaming in the forest. But he doesn't have any shoes and sandals. He has bare feet. And they're talking to each other. The gopis are saying to each other, oh look, Krishna is roaming in the forest with his bare feet. And now they're directly talking to Krishna. And sometimes you keep those lotus feet on our breasts. So when your feet are on our breasts, we think that our breasts are too hard for your soft feet. And now you are wandering in the forest, and you are walking over the rough stones, and we do not know how you are feeling. And since you are our life and soul, the displeasure that you are undergoing and traveling over the rough stones is giving us such great distress. Do you understand? This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is from the 31st chapter. That's one of the Ras Leela chapters. And that is the chapter of the Gopi Geet, when the gopis were searching for Krishna in the forest. And they were all expressing themselves directly to Krishna. They were singing together, and there were different groups of gopis on the bank of the Yamuna in the sandy area. And the gopis, they cannot tolerate. They're telling here that even our breasts are too hard to put your beautiful soft lotus feet. So therefore, when we think about you, how you're walking in the forest of Vrindavan, and there are different pebbles and stones and sharp stones and like that, and we do not know how you are feeling pain from that. But Krishna, you are our life and soul. And therefore, these thoughts about you, how you are traveling over these rough stones, this is giving us great distress. This is the verse. How the gopis are expressing. They have no personal. There's no personal desire for their sense gratification. No. But they're very much desiring Krishna's. And if something is going to cause pain to Krishna, oh, they cannot tolerate that. So, such feelings like these, they are expressed by the damsels of Braja, and those feelings that they're expressing constitute the highest Krishna conscious emotions. Highest. No one can compare with the gopis. Anyone who actually becomes captivated by Krishna consciousness, they can approach this level of the gopis. Yes. There are 64 categories of regulated devotional service, and the performance of these helps one to rise to the gopi stage of unconditional devotion. So affection for Krishna on the level of the gopis, what is it called? It's called rag atmik, spontaneous love. That affection for Krishna on the level of the gopis is called rag atmika, spontaneous love. So when one enters into a spontaneous loving affair with Krishna, there is no need to follow the Vedic rules and regulations. So this is how Srila Prabhupada is ending his 31st chapter of his teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This was all the subject matter that Mahaprabhu was discussing with Ramananda Rai. So in this way, we had a few days of Radha Katha before Radhastami, on Radhastami, and now we had a couple more. So this completes our progressive study, which we will continue on our own, but our progressive study of the glorifications of Srimati Radharani and descriptions by the different acharyas. So it's quite amazing, actually, reading Srila Prabhupada's words that were written. Very, very new devotees were reading this. And look, what is he speaking about? What is Ramananda Roy telling? What is Chaitanya Charitamrita telling? But yet, the persons in the institution, which had become completely watered down with basic Vaidhi Bhakti, so-called Harikatha, when they see an actual realized Vaishnava come from Braj to travel to speak about these exact same topics, with the exact same terminologies and moods and everything, oh, they said, well, that's not Prabhupada's line. Well, that's not what Prabhupada said. Where is that in Prabhupada's books? Oh, this Maharaj, he's different than Prabhupada, because Prabhupada calls Srimati Radharani, he calls her Radharani. But this Maharaj calls her Radhika. So that's not Prabhupada's line. That's how ignoramus these devotees are. And this wasn't in the very beginning of the movement at all. So something's missing. But it was there right back in 1968 when this Teachings of Lord Chaitanya was published. And it was there in the 70s, early 70s, when whole Chaitanya Charitamrita was published. And it's there in Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion book. It's there in Prabhupada's Krishna book. So how you can say? They said that about Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj also. Yeah. They could not comprehend. But he wanted to show that in Prabhupada's books, all these things are there. Everything is there. So, but we are very happy, very, very happy in our hearts that we have been so fortunate to come under the guidance and the lotus feet of our Siksha Gurus, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Maharaj, Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Maharaj, Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, Bhakti Balabhatirtha Maharaj, so many current contemporary acharyas who all understand all of these tattvas, who have realized these. And we have been so fortunate to hear from them. And now we have their books. Even though they have physically left this world, they are completely living in their books. So, if someone wants to ignore these things and say, well, this is not what Prabhupada taught us, then let them do. They are the losers. Big losers. But we should study Prabhupada's books, and by studying Prabhupada's books, then we will understand what these great personalities and our previous acharyas, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you want to understand him? His articles are also in this book. Huh? Very exalted. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jaiva Dharma. So we only have so much time, especially us oldies. Time is running out. We don't have time to beat around the bush and to waste our time on just trying to understand the basic, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. No, I'm sorry. You can, if you want, you focus on that. That's not what I'm going to use my time for. I want to study the books of the acharyas. I want to study the commentaries of the acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, all these. That's what I want before I leave this body. Even just to study Srila Prabhupada's books intently, his Srimad Bhagavatam, all purports, everything, you will receive unlimited. So, now the time has gone today, but we try to kind of extend it a little bit until it's not raining like torrents, but I can see it's still raining a lot. Still raining. So, anyway, we'll end here. Gaur Premanandi. Jai. Jai Shri Vrishabhanu Nandini Shrimati Radharani ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Rupa Nuga Acharya Varga ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna. Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini, Radhe Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Kanumana Mohini, Radhe Radhe, Kanumana Mohini, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Ashtashaki Shiromani, Radhe Radhe, Ashtashaki Shiromani, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Govinda Nandini, Radhe Radhe, Govinda Nandini, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna. Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Vrindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satya Vachai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glory to the assembled devotees. Vsia Slava Savrafyam Sia Priyadanim.